Hi Beauty Fam. So I'm starting this get ready with me with prepping my face. So here I'm using the Chanel Yeux Gel under eye under eye treatment. And I love this because it's a cooling gel, but it also just loves to prep my eye before makeup. This one is the Sisley Double Tenseur Primer. It's my favorite primer that I've used in a lot of my videos. It's not just a primer, but it's a skincare treatment, and my skin always looks better after using this primer. At first it looks a little red, but it'll settle down in a moment. And next I'm using the Chanel color corrector in green, and this is something I've been using on and off, and you can see in this video I'm still learning how to use it. I think this is probably the second time that I used it in this video. That was too much that I put on. A little goes a long way. It's very pigmented. So it's by Chanel, and because I have some rosacea and redness from acne and what have you, this green concealer will cancel out any redness before you add on a foundation. So I love it so far. I don't use it all the time just because it's an extra step, but it definitely does work in kind of like prepping your skin before the foundation, so it's the true color of the foundation comes through. So I'm just doing here some spot treatments. I had some acne and that turned into red spots, and a little definitely goes a long way. So I'm having this here. I always laugh when I see this. It looked like Edward Scissorhands, if anyone remembers that movie where he's putting on makeup to fix his complexion. But it does work, and you'll see. I wish I didn't use as much, but here I'm using the Tom Ford Shade Illuminate Foundation, and it's in shade 6.5. And I actually, yeah, so here I'm wondering if it's actually going to work. This is the Real Techniques foundation brush. I love it. It's synthetic hair, but it's really a really affordable dupe for the high-end brushes. So I'm using the Shade and Illuminate in 6.5, and I thought this was the correct color. And you'll see here that through the end of the application that it actually is too light, and it's not because I've used the concealer. I've on and off used this 6.5 Shade and Illuminate, and it's too light even for my skin tone, which is fading in the summer. So I actually had 7.0 as a sample, and I was wear testing both colors, and 7.0 is actually the better color for my skin tone. I am not a big fan of the Shade and Illuminate foundation. I find that it's really fussy, that it showed a lot of my texture. And here I'm using a different brush, the Sonia G, I think the concealer brush, jumbo concealer or foundation brush. And so I'm pointing out where it's starting to settle. I have large pores on my cheek and on my nose, and even though I primed it, that foundation is. Here I'm using the Tom Ford Shade and Illuminate Concealer in 3W1 Golden, and I'm going to use the Sonia G concealer brush, and I'm letting it sit for a while. It's a technique I saw some other content creator use of letting it sit for a minute or two, just that it makes the application come on better. And so I'm just doing my eyebrows with Benefit eyebrow kit. It has a spoolie on one end and a slanted pencil on the other side. And this is probably my favorite way to do a more natural eyebrow. I noticed I used to fill in my brows a lot more heavily in other images, and just because my eyebrows are already full and my hair is dark already, I generally don't like to overdo my eyebrows because it tends to overtake my look. It tends to take away from eye looks and overall look of my makeup. So this is probably my go-to eyebrow pencil and tool that I use, just because it just cleans up the brows and it looks pretty natural. So I'm just using the Sonia G concealer brush, and this brush has been my go-to since I got it. I love this concealer brush, and beforehand I was using, I think, either my fingers or a sponge, but this has been my go-to. There is another one that comes in this set that can also be as used as a concealer or spot concealer brush, but this is my favorite one because the other one is more dome-like, but this has more of a oval and rectangular-ish shape. So I'm able to get into the crevices more. And here I'm just remarking that face was, I think I'm really enjoying the Shade and Illuminate concealer more than the actual foundation. There tends to be a brightening effect with this product. I don't know what's in it, but I looked at it really carefully under light one day, and it looks like there's some sort of particles or some sort of material in there that kind of reflects light. So it looks great in person, but there's something about the product that looks even better in video or in camera that reflects light and makes the eye look brighter. I'm already deciding I don't really like that product. So this is the Hourglass eye primer, and then I always go in with any sort of powder here, the Tilbury number 2 powder, just to pat down the primer and set it with the Airbrush Wayne Goss brush, and using my Becca Cosmetics under eye brightening powder too as to set my under eye concealer is my go-to as well with the Wayne Goss Airbrush brush. And for the overall face, I really love to use Sisley. And I usually don't use this many powders, but if I was going to be particular about a routine, those are the 3 different powders I would use. Sisley, the Becca Under Eye Concealer, or Becca Cosmetics Under Eye Powder. And showing you here the Tom Ford Quad Phyto. And here's the Tom Ford Quad Photosynthesex. And I think it's funny to play on words of, I think it's supposed to be photosynthesis, like the plant process, but because it's green, but those are play on words. And then using a Sonuji brush to work that plummy, muted plummy color as my crease color or base. Now, this is not the wet and dry formula, but the formula for Tom Ford mattes, which I still end up really liking. It's probably not my favorite, but it's I do enjoy the mattes on there in the Tom Ford quads. I'm here using the Wayne Goss number 19 brush. And I take a smaller brush just to pack on in a more concentrated area that plummy color. And I tend to do that because I have hooded eyelids and I have a smaller area. I usually take a smaller brush to pack on and place more precisely a crease shade just to build up that area. And I love the Wayne Goss eye brush series because he specifically made them for people with smaller eyelids or hooded eyelids like he himself has. And so I'm just really concentrating the color and working to create a crease. And then using a rougher, I think a 02 brush, which is my favorite, into this beautiful, I think it's a duochrome. I don't think it's a multichrome. It's this green shift with a little bit of yellow in it. Actually, it might be a true multichrome. I think there's also some plum in that shade. And it's beautiful. It's that shade in Photosynthesex is the showstopper shade. And I tend to use the rougher 2 as my go-to brush in laying down shimmers in the mobile lid. It happens to be probably one of my favorite brushes in probably my entire set for eyeshadows, just because it's so versatile. Here taking the Sonuji Mini Booster, one of my other favorite brushes in my set. And I love this, and I use it almost in every eye look, this brush, using it always to build out the depth and color of the outer V. And it's the perfect size and resistance for the outer V. And the blue, the sky set of Sonuji, I think, was specifically made for people with smaller eyelids or hooded lids as well. So this is probably, the Mini Booster is my favorite brush out of that sky set. So something I've been doing lately is using that Pat McGrath Intensifies wand, which is in a way a compact glitter glue gel that in a form that's in a stick. So convenient. I used to use glitter glue and I just stopped using it because it was too inconvenient. But with eye looks that have a shimmer shade, I've been having fun trying to use the Pat McGrath Intensifies one whenever I can to see if I can always build up the intensity of a shimmer or glitter shade. And so you see me going in this, and I know my finger's probably going to add some impact, and it definitely adds more impact, which I'm really happy about. So it's definitely been one of my favorite purchases of the year because I can use that Intensifies wand so easily now. It's so convenient, and I use it across different eyeshadows. And for all the eyeshadows I've used, it's worked so far. And here I'm going with another clean 02 rougher brush and using that plum shade and just kind of the straight edge of that brush to smoke out the lower line, lash line. And that's what I mean by the rougher 02 being such a wonderful and versatile brush. So I usually use that in every look I have, if not both or two that I have on hand. Here's the Sonia G Builder 1 brush, and I'm taking this because I want a more precise use of the eyeshadow as a liner to smoke it out at the bottom. It's a great smudging brush, and it's pretty versatile. You could also use it on top as well. And then going back with the Crease Pro, I believe, or no, the Builder 1, and then a Wayne Goss brush. I didn't catch which one it was. It's I think it's squirrel hair, but for the inner corner highlight with the yellow, and that yellow against the yellow gold against the green really pops, and it's a beautiful contrast. So I like to not only put it in the inner corner, but I like to drag a little bit of that yellow onto the greens just so there's some added dimension there, and run it a little bit along the bottom line lash as well. And then I'm taking here a smaller Wayne Goss brush, and I'm just going again into the crease to make sure that that purple shade is not lost with the green that's laid down, as just to add depth and create more of a crease with my hooded eyelids. And usually the final step of my routine is the Wayne Goss 03 brush, and it is a super soft squirrel hair brush and very fluffy. And I don't use this to lay down color. I use this to just blend out the edges and then diffuse and blend as much as possible because it's squirrel hair. It's so light that it does not move too much of the product around. I'm using my Shiomura eyelash curler. It's the one I've used for years. I think it's really a great eyelash curler for those with Asian eyes. And then going into my Tom Ford eyeliner, it's my favorite one. And then using the MAC Giga Black mascara for my lower lashes. And then using the Volume de Chanel mascara, which is a volumizing mascara for my top lashes. And this is one of my favorite in-between mascaras. Could be used every day, but is a little bit more dramatic. I like to use these for smoky looks, whereas the Chantecaille I like to use for like an everyday mascara. But this mascara is really great at volumizing, not so much lengthening, but volumizing my short lashes. Now I'm going back with the Sonia G Jumbo Concealer to clean up any fallout. There is a little bit of fallout with this eye quad, and I believe it's from the Duochrome Multi-Chrome shade. It's not too bad. It pretty much all disappeared after I cleaned up. And I'm taking the Sonia G Face 2 brush here, and then dipping it into the Tom Ford Peach Poison blush. I only have one of these, but they are fantastic. I think they are definitely way too overpriced at $90 for the blush set. And in a way, they could be either used as two blushes or combined for another. I do love them, but I'd recommend not getting them full price. One thing I noticed is that a lot of them are in the similar tone of peaches. So I was happy just to even just get one at this time. But it is beautiful. It reminds me a little bit of the old formula. It's not the same, but it just has this beautiful finish where it's really easy on aging or textured skin on the cheek area. And again, since it's mostly Tom Ford products, I'm using one of my favorite bronzers, Tom Ford Gold Dust, and then using the Face Pro from Sony G, which is definitely my favorite bronzing brush. I was really happy to pick this up and get it at the last release. And look how quickly the product goes on. And to finish the look, I'm taking my Chantecaille Hummingbird Blurring Powder and the BK102 brush. And I love this combination. It fits right in the pan. And it is a pretty dense brush, so I really love it for maximum impact. You can see there on my right side of my face of the blurring powder what it does, and it's just magical, and it just gets better throughout the day with this powder. And here I'm finishing off the look to spray with the Chantecaille Rose Water. It's not the perfect mist, but it'll do in a pinch. And so I'm seeing here that my hair is not fixed yet. I put it up in a bun, which is fine for putting makeup on, but I'm using the Bumble and Bumble dry shampoo. Great for dark hair, brown or black. It doesn't leave a white cast. And usually on my second or third day of not washing my hair, my scalp gets pretty oily, so this is a staple in my hair routine. And the Bumble and Bumble is a great product not only for drying up the oil in my hair, but it also volumizes. So it's a really fantastic product. And then here I'm finishing off with the Tom Ford color. I believe it's Indian Rose. I'll put the description down on the box below. And I got that as a sample from one of my purchases. It's a great pinky color. And Tom Ford lipsticks are really, really creamy and pigmented. And this is before it was reformulated. So the thing with Tom Ford lipsticks is that they tend to not last very long in terms of shelf life. But it's a freebie, so I'm using it. And I felt that the look I wanted it to be a little bit more grounded. So I put on Tom Ford Wicked Ways, which is one of my favorite Tom Ford lipsticks in my collection. It's a satin matte, and I feel like it suits the look a lot better. And that's it for my Get Ready With Me with the Tom Ford Eye Quad. And here are some photo stills of the final look. I really enjoy this green quad. If you're a lover of green quads, it's definitely one to get.